The main reason I love teaching in Sunday school because I get to study the word in a concerted manner. I get excited at the new insights that the Lord reveals, and I can't wait to share it with the children. Online learning by far has been the most interesting phase in my teaching experience because it has heightened the engagement level. We are reaching into the homes of the children. Family members can partake in the class if they choose to, and I encourage that a lot because I'm a great propounder of the three-pronged teaching methodology to steer a child to Christ. Parent, teacher, student, all three equally play a pivotal role in the spiritual walk of the child. The Bible has many examples. Timothy is a classic one. So when the teachers were asked to do a podcast, I wanted to engage the children in the exercise. I wanted to empower them to take the lead. And boy, did they take the lead in a brilliant manner. Lights, camera, action. Ideas burst forth. And we are actually contemplating to doing a web series of 9 podcasts by the 9 children under the production banner of Class 10B. Icing on the cake, mommies have jumped onto the bandwagon. Championing inclusiveness, isn't it? This podcast is helmed by the daughter-mother duo of Nora and Suji, who came up with a very relevant and contemporary topic, religious slangs.
For Christ's sake!
Oh my God.
Holy Mother of God.
Oh, for the love of Christ.
God damn it.
Jesus Christ.
For God's sake.
Jeez. I swear to God.
How often do you find yourself saying those phrases? Have you ever wondered if God was okay with you using His name like that? Well, let's find out. The class of 10B, along with our teacher, Annie Paul, have put together a short video on religious slang. The question of our use of religious slang can be directly answered by the third commandment in Exodus 20 verse 7. Do not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Let's be clear. These phrases use God's names emptily, frivolously, and insincerely. It's no surprise when the world steals from God's honor. But as for us, these things ought not to be.
Many of us have a nasty habit. We domesticate God. To domesticate means to bring to the level or control of ordinary people. But we do this because we do not comprehend the holiness of God.
So what is holiness? Our translation for holiness comes from the Hebrew word kadosh, which means to cut. So to be holy means to be cut off or separate, to be distinct from anything that has ever existed or will exist. God's holiness is not an aspect of who He is. It is the very essence of who He is. God is holy in every attribute and every action.
The doctrine of the holiness of God sits at the center of the grand narrative of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Without the holiness of God, there is no moral law to which every human being is responsible to sin.
Without the holiness of God, there would be no perfect Son, sent as an acceptable sacrifice for sin. Without the holiness of God, there would be no final defeat of Satan.
Without the holiness of God, there would be no hope of a new heaven and earth, where holiness will reign over us and in us forever. Who are we to break this holiness?
There are clear-cut statements in the Bible that declare the holiness of the Lord's name and why it will not be misused. Leviticus 22:32. Do not profane my holy name, for I must be acknowledged as holy by the Israelites. I am the Lord who made you holy.
Ezekiel chapter 39 verse 7. I will make known my holy name among my people in Israel. I will no longer let my holy name be profaned. And the nations will know that I, the Lord, am the Holy One in Israel.
Let us not expect Christians to police this wicked world, rebuking every overheard blasphemy against His name.
We shouldn't be surprised when unbelievers speak like it. But as for us, God's covenant children, may it never be that we use God's name in such an overtly blasphemous way. Therefore, let us take into prayer.
Reveal to me, Abba Father, your immortal holiness,
that I may be transformed and comprehend the gravity of keeping your name holy.
Give me the strength and the conscience to realize when I fall into sin with the words of my mouth.
Comfort and console me with your word,
that I am not burdened by what you have commanded,
yet to find it as a hope to grace,
and a step closer to being with you,
and experiencing your holiness and greatness.
In the matchless name of our Lord, Amen.
God is big into his name. He is filled with zeal for it. We do not have the right to take his name in vain. We see that God should be revered. He is holy, he is majestic. God does not let his name to be taken in vain and let people go unpunished. As we identify ourselves as Christians, we bear Christ's name.
So I exhort each one of you to watch this video. Take a stand for Christ. Pick up the gauntlet. Tell your parent, tell your friend, tell your sibling about religious slangs and how we have all fallen short of obeying the third commandment. Do not take the name of the Lord in vain. Mind you, it's not going to be easy. Pray. The Lord will strengthen you.